Hi there, I'm Jack Van Ryn, Mayor of the Town of Coaldale. I will be giving you a council brief from our regular council meeting that was held Monday, September the 11th, 2023. And the first item of business that came up under business arising from the minutes was regarding the 2023 Community Event Calendar Working Group. And we had our Manager of Government Relations, Jonathan Wensveen, present. And this goes back to our community events calendar procedure that Council talked about in late 2022. And this is where administration team members work on the different events that go out, go on throughout the year within Coaldale. And they're looking for a couple of members of council to sit on that committee so that we can give them input on the types of events, when they should happen, and what takes place at these events. And basically, we want to work together as a group. And administration was looking for a couple of council members to sit on that working group. So myself and Councillor Lisa Reese agreed to sit on that. And for myself, I really enjoy being part of the event planning. It's a lot of fun, and it's fun to see so many residents come out to our events. So stay tuned, it's going to get bigger and better. The next item that came up under a business arising from the minutes was agenda item 6.2, and that was regarding the Town of Coaldale General Recreation Board exploration. And we had our Director of Recreation and Community Services, Russ Tanner, present on that. And that discussion revolved around information concerning the exploration of a general committee to advise them on future recreation and community services needs, and further to provide council with an opportunity to discuss the pros and cons concerning the current practice of focus groups versus a general committee. So Russ Tanner's team members wanted to have a discussion regarding what we do now and what we could do to possibly improve our recreation board. And currently, right now, some examples of community focus groups that we have going is the Sports and Recreation Working Group, the Arena Enhancement Working Group, Waves and Blades Sportsplex Innovation Working Group, the Mountain Bike Working Group, and the Skateboard Working Group. So those are boards that we've either had in the past or we currently have now. And my personal take on that is that with these focus groups, and I'm going to use the most recent one, that's the Skateboard Working Group, we asked for community members to participate, and we had quite a few that put their name in. And obviously these people have a vested interest in a skateboard park, so they want to be able to participate in that. And the same thing goes for the Waves and Blades Working Group, where they're talking about a new indoor-outdoor pool and also a second sheet of ice. And I sit on both of those groups, and it's quite enjoyable to see the enthusiasm from our residents willing to participate in that. So one other option was to do a general committee approach, where we would have one group that would deal with all the different discussion points that come up, whether it be a swimming pool, skating rinks, skateboard parks, mountain bike parks, or whatever else comes up. And what we directed council to come back, or not directed council, to direct administration to come back with a terms of reference for a recreation board component to that, so that this board would deal with some of the recreation questions that come up, and then we would leave the focus groups in place, and we would work hand in hand with the recreation board. So That'll be coming up at a future council meeting when we have terms of reference to see how this is going to work regarding the current approach, the way we're doing it now, and versus the general committee approach. So what we're hoping to do is merge both of those groups, and then that way we have the best of both worlds. The next item that came up under bylaws and policies was agenda item 7.1 regarding the West Industrial Area Structure Plan, bylaw 875-P-06-23 regarding second and third reading. And we had our senior planner, Haley Winder, present. And first reading for this bylaw was passed on June 26, 2023, and the public hearing was held on July 10th, 2023. And this is regarding a new industrial park that's going in just north of Coaldale. And in the original area structure plan, there was a small piece on the south end that the owner at the time did not want to participate, so we removed that parcel of land out of the area structure plan. And now that piece is being sold, and the new owners want to be part of the area structure plan because it makes good sense, good business sense to do that as far as planning on what's going to be going into that industrial park and how everyone can work together to come up with a area structure plan that pleases everyone. So second and third reading was passed for that at our council meeting today. And then under agenda item 7.2, we dealt with the Civic Square Area Redevelopment Plan bylaw 878-P-09-23. And the purpose of the report was to provide council with a draft Civic Square Area Redevelopment Plan. And again, we had our senior planner, Haley Winder, present. And the Area Redevelopment Plan is a statutory document that sets out the goals and strategies for redevelopment of a previously developed area and provides a framework to council to preserve or improve land and buildings, rehabilitate, remove, construct, or replace buildings, and establish and improve or relocate roads, public utilities, or other services in a specific area. Downtown Coaldale has experienced significant economic growth and revitalization over the past 5 years. Specifically, the Civic Square ARP will focus on land shown, and basically that is from the existing new Civic Square building to the west, all the way up to the real estate center, and all the way back to the library and west towards 19th Street towards Coaldale Foods. And the area I just described containing the Civic Square building, town-owned lands to the south, and a small number of lots to the immediate west of the Civic Square building that I just described. The area redevelopment plan is intended to set clear policy and direction for the development and redevelopment of properties in downtown Coaldale over a 5-year horizon. And the objectives of this staff report are to encourage the appropriate integration of retail, commercial, and dining establishments, improve vibrancy, economic vitality, and livability, identify opportunities for redevelopment of vacant or underutilized properties, encourage the sustainable development of the downtown community, and build a strong sense of place that contributes to a positive community identity. So basically, as part of this entire Civic Square project that actually we had the groundbreaking for today, we want to work towards developing what's remaining towards the west of Coaldale, where those older buildings are currently located. So first reading was passed, and there'll be a public hearing that'll be coming up at a future council meeting to have residents come and contribute their opinions. They can ask questions for council to consider before they move forward with a second and third reading if they decide to do so. Then we had under agenda item 7.3, Land Use Bylaw Amendment 879-P-09-23 regarding first reading. And the staff report was presented by our senior planner, Haley Winder. And this was to present council with the bylaw I just described, proposing the redesignate portions of lands that are located at 1511 21st Avenue from residential R1A to residential multi-unit R2. So we have a application that before us where a developer wants to do a multi-family unit at that parcel of land. And council listened to Haley's staff report, and first reading was passed for that. So that sets the stage for a public hearing where more information will be available, and again for the general public to come and listen, ask questions, and to give their input, whether they're in favor of the proposal or against the proposal. Then we had a borrowing bylaw under agenda item 7.4, and that was borrowing bylaw 876-B-09-23, and that was regarding borrowing funds to purchase some land. And we had our Chief Financial Officer and Deputy CAO, Kyle Beauchamp, present on that. And it was regarding an economic development opportunity that the town is involved with. And so council passed first reading, and that will be coming up at a future public hearing as well. Again, for the same reason, for residents to hear more about the project or the purchase of these lots, and also to give their input in favor or against the borrowing bylaw for that one. Then we had, again, under bylaws and policies, agenda item 7.5, another borrowing bylaw, 877-B-09-23, again for first reading. And we had our Kyle Beauchamp present on that as well. And for that one, it was regarding the outdoor civic square project that's going to be started here in the next few days. And as it stands now, we are in need of an additional $595,000 is required by way of debenture to provide funding to complete the construction of the outdoor civic square project. And we don't need this money right now, but we need to have this bylaw in place for the project to fully move ahead. And while this is going on, we are going to be actively fundraising, and we had 3 businesses already step up to provide some sort of funding for the project that will offset this need for the $595,000. And we have over a year to secure these funds. And worst case scenario is, if we're unsuccessful, then we'll have a borrowing bylaw in place for that. First reading was passed at our meeting this afternoon. Then the next item that came up was under new business, and under agenda item 8.1, a housing needs assessment. And again, we had our Manager of Government Relations, Jonathan Winsby, present on that. And the purpose of Jonathan's staff report was to present housing needs assessment, which was completed on the Government of Alberta's Affordable Housing Needs Assessment Tool, and to request Council to officially endorse the report. And this stems back to last fall when Council met with the Board of Green Acres Foundation to learn about all the steps involved in obtaining grant funding for more senior housing in Coaldale. One of the steps outlined was the preparation of an official housing needs assessment, and as a result, over the summer, administration began preparing the official document through the Government of Alberta's Affordable Housing Needs Assessment Tool, which is administered by the Ministry of Seniors, Community and Social Needs. So this is one of the steps that we need to do to ultimately get more senior housing in Coaldale. And Jonathan did an excellent job on putting this all together. And Council voted to unanimously endorse the Town of Coaldale's Affordable Housing Needs Assessment as prepared through the Government of Alberta Affordable Housing Needs Assessment Tool. So Council passed to endorse this first step and many of steps that need to be taken to get us more senior housing in Coaldale. Then Jonathan also presented under agenda item 8.2 the 2022 Housing Needs Report. So this is a little bit different, and the purpose of this staff report was to obtain again Council's endorsement of the Town of Coaldale's housing needs. So a little bit of background: in early August, administration prepared and submitted a grant application to the federal government Housing Accelerator Fund, which is a $4 billion fund set up by the Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation to provide incentive funding to local governments, encouraging initiatives aimed at increasing housing supply. It also supports the development of complete, low carbon and climate resilient communities that are affordable, inclusive, equitable, and diverse. So what we're applying for is an $11 million grant, and there's quite a bit of information to do with this application. And as I do with all of these council recaps, I'll have the entire agenda package as in the comment section of this video, and I encourage you to go through the agenda line item by line item so that you can learn more about what was discussed at our council meeting. So council ultimately approved unanimously to endorse the Town of Coaldale's 2022 Housing Needs Report as presented by Jonathan. Then the next item under 8.3 on the agenda was a request for a refund on a tax penalty paid. So we had a homeowner in Coaldale that missed the due date for paying their taxes, and unfortunately they were billed an additional $179.91. And council, let me back up, administration, if there is an error on administration's part that caused something to delay getting the tax bill out in the mail and they didn't receive it, then the refund would automatically be given. But because the homeowner received the tax notice and for whatever reason did not have a chance to pay it, and the tax penalty was imposed, and council agreed with our chief financial officer, Kyle Beauchamp, that we cannot set precedent by forgiving these tax penalties because it's as a result of the homeowner themselves. Like, I get my bill in the mail. when I get it, I go pay it. And that's just something that someone and everyone needs to do. So make sure that you pay your bills on time. And so after the staff report, Council voted unanimously to deny the request for the refund of penalties on property taxes paid from this particular homeowner. And then we had under departmental reports, agenda item 9.1. Again, we had our Chief Financial Officer and Deputy CAO, Kyle Beauchamp, give us a staff report on the financial update for Q2 that takes us to the end of June. And in a nutshell, the town of Coaldale is doing extremely well. I'm not going to get into all the details that Kyle presented. Kyle listened to council and made his report as simple as it can be, and it's very easy to follow. And again, I'll have it in the agenda package in the comments section where you can follow line item by line item what was presented. And again, Kyle did an excellent job. I'm very proud of our administration team for the work that they do. So again, I strongly encourage everyone to make sure that you go through our agenda. And after that, we had council and committee reports, agenda item 10.1. We had our council representative on the Gem of the West Society, Dale Pickering, give us an update on everything that's going on with the Gem of the West. And Dale really enjoys being on that committee. The Gem of the West Society is very, very active. And what I'll do is, as a separate entry point on my social media profile, programs and platforms, I should say, I'll have Dale's report so you can read for yourself what they've been up to. Then under correspondence, we have two information items. One was municipal affairs regarding our MSI and CCBF funding and some of the changes that are coming up with that. And then we also had under information, municipal affairs, a fire services training program grant that the province is giving out to volunteer fire department services across the province for $500,000. And this funding goes towards our volunteers furthering their education by attending training programs that enhance their firefighting capabilities and their education. That when it comes to public safety, there's so much to learn, and this is a much needed grant to help offset those costs for our volunteers. That concludes the open portion of the meeting. And as always, do me a big favor, like, share, comment on my video recap. It's important because it takes a bit of work to put this together. And if you have any questions, I'll have my contact information at the end of this video, my email, my phone number. Please reach out. I'm always available. The same goes for the rest of our council. They're available. They got their emails on the Town of Coaldale website. And we're all always looking forward to having a conversation with everyone. So other than that, if you see me on the street, stop me and we'll have a conversation. We can go for a coffee. And it's important not only for myself, but also for all the council to keep communication open between council and our residents. So that's everything I have for this recap. So thank you very much for taking the time to listen. And I hope to see you soon on the street. Take care.